You're watching No Time to Die, the show where I take ultra fast recipes on YouTube and I recreate them to see how long they actually take to make. In this episode, we're making a recipe by Brian Lagerstrom, aka, as I like to call him, Brian Loserstrom, a so-called 30-minute weeknight chicken enchilada recipe. We have a couple cheat codes in today's recipe. We got pre-shredded cheese, pre-made salsa, pre-cooked chicken, pre-made tortillas. So if I cannot make this in 30 minutes or less, I will never have faith in the white man ever again. Now, once I grab the chicken, the 30-minute timer will begin. And if I can't make it in 30 minutes, I have to resign my position here on YouTube. And everybody who I talked with about this recipe said that there is no way I couldn't make it in 30 minutes. They all said I could do it in 20, maybe even less. So I'm here to prove them either right or wrong. Now the first step is to grab your pre-cooked grocery store chicken and shred all the meat off the bone. You gotta shuck it dry, all right? And if you don't know about that, well, you'll find out when you're older, but dude, my heart is racing. I'm actually worried that I'm not gonna be able to get this in time. These do cook in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Realistically, I have 18 minutes to put this all together and get it in the oven. Whether or not I can do that in time is yet to be seen. Those who I shared my plans with said it would be easy. My cameraman, on the other hand, has been very pessimistic and does not think I will make it anywhere near the goal of 30 minutes or less. Now that my whole chicken has been shredded, the next step is to take 300 grams of Monterey Jack, pour that into the chicken, as well as 200 grams of our green enchilada sauce. Now, he calls for Monterey Jack in the entirety of the recipe. I got two separate kind of cheeses, Monterey Jack and Pepper Jack, because we're having a little bit of a jack off here. Because he requires quite a bit of cheese and I didn't buy enough, I'm gonna cut it with mozzarella. Don't tell anybody, it'll look the same and it'll taste fine, all right? And I'm doing an even distribution of the 100 grams of each, because later in the recipe, we will also be coating these enchiladas with copious amounts of cheese as well. And that is 300 grams of cheese in the chicken. Now 200 grams of this green enchilada sauce, and we should be right there. Oh, I'm just gonna hand mix this until it's nice and homogeneous. Ooh, it doesn't feel the best. I don't love these blended textures, but all right, he doesn't really specify how much to mix this, and we're not making meatballs here, so I think this should be good. I'm gonna start preheating the oven, and then I gotta get some tortillas preheated on the stove. This recipe calls for 18 tortillas, 16 for the enchiladas, and 2 provisional tortillas just in case something tears. And Brian also says that you have to preheat these so they don't rip, because they're not very malleable at room temp, and we don't want tortillas. And we're gonna get them 30 seconds per side. Okay, barely one fits in this 10-inch pan, so that's good. I love it when I overcrowd the pan. I'm going to stash these in a tortilla warmer to keep them warm while I am assembling the entire enchilada. The whole enchilada, if you will. So after a lengthy amount of time, I finally have all my tortillas preheated. And it took so long that I even busted out 2 pans for the job. The akimbo pans to get 8 tortillas going at the same time. But since they both required 30 seconds on each side, unfortunately, that just ate away too much into my time allotment. I'm currently sitting at 10 minutes and 53 seconds. So if I can get this done in the next 53 seconds, I might just have a chance at this. But can I assemble them that fast? Let's find out. Yeah, maybe I get away with doing 2 of these in 53 seconds, but 16? Yeah, right. So it goes tortilla, a thin layer of our sauce here, and then a generous amount of our stuffing. So now that this is assembled and rolled tight, I'm just gonna do that 16 more times and then brush them all with sauce once more and then get some shredded cheese on top. And I'm officially at the 10-minute mark, which means there's no way they're gonna cook in time. But you know what? We're gonna keep going. Is Lion Brian, in fact, the fraud I always knew he was? Why does this always happen, man? Why am I always led astray by every man on the internet? 36 minutes later, I finally have the assembled enchiladas. It's been a wild ride trying to get to this point. Unfortunately, I did not make it in time, but I'm still gonna put them in the oven for another 12 minutes, and hopefully enjoy a decent meal after all this effort. We'll find out. "50 minutes later, we have the enchiladas with the store-bought rotisserie chicken, with the store-bought salsa, with the store-bought tortillas, with the store-bought Mexican crema, which actually, this one wasn't store-bought. I've just been working on this for a couple of years. But Everything else has been store-bought and prepared, and it's just there's no way you could do it in 30. I want to see you do it if you think you could do it, but it's not possible. With all that said though, is it at least decent? We got that melty cheese, we got some shreddis on top, we got some cilantro, we got some Mexican cream, that crema, we got those crispy bits of the tortilla, the crispy bits of the charred cheese. And so what is the verdict? Well, they're not enchiladas. I mean, they are enchiladas, but they're not enchiladas, bro. Like they're not covered in, they're not doused in sauce. Like they gotta be drenched in it. That's kind of the name. And it's, I think for a 30-minute recipe, if you could make it in 30 minutes, this would be fine. But for a 50-minute more involved, like maybe possibly closer to an hour, and it's not drowning in sauce, I don't think the Mexican cream, the crema, I don't think it's doing enough of the heavy lifting. I long for moisture. I long for that wet. I think if I had to rate this, I would give this a solid 6.8 Chef John's out of 10. That is my verdict. It's good. I'm happily gonna eat all of these. It wasn't 50 minutes, close to an hour good. At that point, let me just make everything from scratch. I don't know, get more salsa in there. But much like Brian Lagerstrom had his lovely wife come on screen, mine will also be coming on screen to test my enchiladas.